Yes, I'm ready.
So the headliner could be something what is consciousness or awareness if it's not seen or experienced without the body, without the vehicle mechanism, like without the body and like without the machine or whatever.
Right.
How is it there? Like, you know how that's my question.
Okay. Cool. I understand what you're saying. All right. So, welcome to the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm Zarathustra, your host, and broadcasting from Tulum, Mexico. So we're here again. I welcome you from wherever you are around the world. You're always welcome to write to me at my email is info@zarathustra.tv and our info@zarathustra.tv. And the website is zarathustra.tv. Um, the topic of this week and what we're going to talk about is basically the nature of consciousness. How does it operate? How is it operating in here and now? How is it operating through all these different bodies, these human beings? I mean, that's the part that we're interested in because, again, everything at the end of the day always comes back to this sense of me. What's in it for me? Because if there's nothing in it for you, you're not interested. And it's just like with anything in life. If you don't have an interest in an area, you don't care. Now, it doesn't matter what that thing is. If you have no interest in it, it's nonsense to you. It's irrelevant completely. So so basically the part we're interested in is that of this nature of the being, this vastness of the presence, how does it operate? How is it going to affect me? How do I figure it out? How is it going to benefit me? How is it going to bring me peace, love, or money, or a partner, or a new home, or whatever you want, whatever is your agenda in life at this moment that's important to you. um, how do I get over my fears of death? How do I get over the fears of uncertainties in a world that looks like it's in chaos? So what I'm getting at is basically at the end of the day, all I care about is what's in it for me. So always check in with yourself and kind of be honest with yourself. I mean, you can fake it or lie or pretend with everybody else, but you can't do it with yourself. And of course, we're very good at doing it with ourselves too, but always come back and check in with yourself and see where you're at. How honest are you to yourself? And why do you want to know something? Or what's this thing? What kind of value it has for you? And then when you check it out, you're always going to come back to this place. You realize, what's in it for me? So maybe we title this academy, we give it a title, What's in It for Me? That could be a good title. Um, anyway, but Shadi brought a very good topic, and we're going to get into that. I'm going to talk about it. Uh, it's interesting because we talked before and you said we're kind of synchronized in our thoughts, or things are happening, like I say things that you've been thinking about, or but I was thinking about the same thing in past couple days, so you brought it up today. So it's not always what you're thinking and I talk about, it could be the other way around. And of course, I have this with a lot of you because we're syncing with each other. So naturally, we operate as one unit. And we feel each other, and also somehow we are connected into the one mind. So we can hear each other's thoughts at times and feel each other's feelings. So in this moment, we're hanging out together here in the vastness of life, in the emptiness, in nothingness, in fullness of life. We're here right now. And we're seeing each other, and you're expecting me to say something. You're expecting me either to do a guided meditation or to talk about something. So if I become quiet and not say anything, what happens is you basically naturally waiting to see what's going to come. What is he going to do? Or what's happening right now? That's how it is. So let's play a little game for fun, like little kids. We'll play this pretend to be. We'll play this game of imaginary game. And for one moment, I want you to imagine this. Okay, so close your eyes and relax. And we're just like little kids, and we're telling stories to each other. Okay, it's a story. So you're just relaxing. You close your eyes. You take a deep breath. And you just, in your imaginations, you imagine yourself that you have traveled into the vast space, and somehow you landed in a planet, an area, a place that all colors are extremely exaggerated. It's very green, it's lush, it's full of lakes, rivers. The water is like super blue, kind of like fluorescent blue. The beach, the sand is like fluorescent beige, white. The vegetation is like fluorescent green. Everything is really like, colors are exaggerated. The flowers are red, orange, green, whatever colors they are, and they're exaggerated. and you somehow landed in this place. You're on edge of this lake. And in this lake, there's all kinds of exotic fish and swimming. Like there's these super smart dolphins jumping up and down, having fun. And they got like human eyes, kind of like shiny human eyes. And all over the lake, you see these like fireflies, but they're like angelic fireflies, and they're flying around. There's birds singing, parrots, hawks, eagles, all kinds of exotic birds. There's all kinds of animals around. You're standing on the edge of this lake. And it's like the entire animal kingdom has come to your feet. There's a beautiful tiger. There's a majestic lion. There's deers, cats, dogs, horses, sheep, rabbits. But every animal is just very friendly, very much in harmony with each other, non-threatening. Even the snake or Scorpio or whatever is running around, they're all very much in harmony, and none of them eating each other, because somehow they've evolved into transforming light into food. They using light, and through breeding they expand and they get fulfilled. So there's no need to eat each other. And it's kind of like their consciousness has evolved, and yet they are in the animal kingdom and you're a part of it, but they live in harmony with each other. From the fish to the land creatures and to the birds, they're all in harmony, supporting each other, helping each other, laughing with one another, dancing with one another. And you're there. And you're in a perfect body. Your body's perfect. You don't get cold, you don't get hot, you're not hungry, you don't have any pains and aches. You're capable of running very fast, you're capable of jumping, you're capable of swimming and diving under the water. You're like a superhuman in this alternate reality that you have entered. The sun is shining. The reflection of the sun on this beautiful lake, this fluorescent blue lake with all this energy coming out of it, and the reflection of the sun. You feel the sun rays on your face. And it's like feeding your entire being with prana, with energy. There's a sense of pure intelligence, like a highly powerful, intelligent being, consciousness available here, operating through everybody, everything in a harmony. It's a complete celebration. It's like for the first time in your life, you have come across a complete union of the earth, the nature, the planet, the animals, and the humans, completely in cooperation with each other, dancing, laughing, playing with one another, making fun of one another for fun. Jumping up and down. You feel very safe. You feel at home. Never before you felt this harmony, this love, this safety. A deep feeling of all is well. Like nothing's missing. But this is, you are all by yourself. You don't have any human company. You're the only one there, but you have the nature and the animals. They're your friends. They're happy to serve you, to take care of you, to make you feel welcome, loved, and fulfill your needs, whatever you need. Anything you need, you ask for, and it's delivered to you immediately. So now, stay in this place. A year goes by, and you are in this incredible, powerful vortex, completely in harmony with everything. And in the blink of an eye, 10 years go by. "10 years you've been here in this place, in a completely blissed out state, needless. All of your desires are fulfilled. Even if you get horny and you want to have sex, existence manifests. The most beautiful partner that you want will appear in front of you, and you can make love for as long as you want, fulfill your carnal desires, and then the partner disappears at your command. All of your needs are met. Even if you want company, you can have someone showing up around you, but you're the only one who's going to stay here long term. Everybody else comes and goes. They can't stay there. But you can have them come and visit you. And you can have multiple partners, multiple friends, family. But they can't stay long term. Everyone comes to visit you and they have to leave. You're the only one who can stay in this place. Hundred years goes by, 100 years after. 100 years go by, and you're here in this place. By now, everybody you know on planet Earth is dead, is gone. Your children, your grandkids, they've grown up because they lived in time space. The world on the planet Earth has changed. But you are in a different dimension, which there is no time. You still look the same, in perfect shape, no pain, no aches, no fear. Moments that you think maybe you should go back. And you say, I'm going to stay a little bit longer. So let's check this out. Let's drink this place a little bit. Maybe we stay here for another 100 years. Maybe 500 years. A very long time goes by, 500 years, 1,000 years. From your arrival to this special place, sanctuary, this dimension. A place that everything takes place in harmony. After a very long time and years of being in this exquisite, harmonious state, one day you decide that you like to go back and check out the planet Earth that you were once in and see what's going on there. So you say your goodbyes and you travel back to what it's called planet Earth in here and now. You enter into this dimension, this world that it's full of competition, there's hatred, there is love, there's backstabbing, there's lies, worry, anxiety, all kinds of stuff. But you have come and you have brought back with you harmony. You have tasted perfection. And you know, down deep in the very core of your being, that this other dimension, harmonious dimension, exists. So now you come to this part, this side, with that awareness, that consciousness. You bring this fifth dimensional consciousness with you into the planet Earth. And slowly, slowly, you open up your eyes, you come back into this reality, this dimension, with the know how and the knowledge of where you were, the experiences you had. In the beginning, it's a little bit of a shock, like, what is going on here? What are these people thinking, doing? Why do they live like this? But then, as a little bit time goes on, you also experience something different. You are experiencing adversity, you're experiencing duality and disharmony. And part of you kind of finds it exciting and interesting as well. You know, you spend 1,000 years in harmony, and now you're here and it's chaotic. However, the chaos cannot affect you any longer because you already discovered harmony within yourself. You're just curious that why are these people living the way they're living when they can be living in perfect harmony with each other and with the entire existence. You're curious about it. But their craziness is not affecting you. You're very still and centered and a little bit excited about this change. Remember, you were in a perfect harmonious state for 1,000 years. So a little bit of chaos is exciting now. As time goes on, maybe 5 years, 10 years, living in this dimension again, slowly, slowly you begin to experience fear or worry, or you start pointing out at others as if they're other people, they're other stuff. So you're starting to experience this duality. 1,000 years of oneness, and now you are in this dimension that you feel there's others and they may attack you or they may kill you or they may threaten your security. So now you're experiencing that. But what I recommend is that you remember the truth of who you are. You remember your origin, where you were, and remembering that peace and serenity that you experienced. Now you brought it back with you in your heart here. So can you demonstrate that? Are you able to bring that on in your everyday life? Can you be the light the torch without any kind of external support? Can you just regenerate the light from within yourself and remember that state, that consciousness that you were living in, and demonstrate that despite of the craziness of what's going on in the world, can you maintain your status? Or you're going to give in and identify with what is going on in the world, the new dimension that you've entered into. Can you not give in to it? Did your awareness change? Did your knowing of the state you were in this other dimension change since you're here now? Did you forget? Or you can remind yourself and remember of who you are, what you are. Because it's easy to give into this and fall asleep into it and buy the narrative, whatever is the narrative, the story, to buy into the story. Or you're willing to stay strong and keep reminding yourself of the harmony, the love, the oneness that you know of, that you lived in it for 1,000 years, 1,000 years. Or you're willing to give it away. Can you stay strong? So, back to what we were going to talk about. It was the other day, it was like a few days ago, I awakened and I'm sitting on the edge of the bed. My bed, I get out of the bed and I'm just sitting there. And my body's not really awake, so I'm not ready to sprint and jump in the shower and run around and do things. So I'm just sitting there and just kind of like this. And I don't know how much time went by. Maybe half an hour, maybe an hour, maybe 10 minutes. I don't really know because I wasn't checking the time. But what I realized after what happened, not in that very moment, it was like sitting there with eyes right open, breathing, of course, and there was no thoughts, absolutely no thoughts. So everything disappeared. Like, oh, this is the end of the season. I have to pack. I have to go to Los Angeles. We have a retreat in Sweden. Blah, 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 blah. We got to do this. I have to do that. I have to post this. I have to call Amir. I got to talk to Hilde. I got to talk to Annalie. Everything disappeared. There was nothing. It was like maybe half an hour, 1 hour of just sitting there. And after, the mind came, and this thing that, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, I have to call this person, I gotta drop this thing off with this friend, whatever is the agenda of the day. Then I realized that for maybe a period of time of, let's say, 1 hour, the body was there and it was completely awake and present, but there was no thoughts. And it was very clear that there was a full understanding that it was the complete existence, the entire existence was operating in that moment through this body without any agendas. There was like nowhere to go and nothing to do. It was just there. It was looking through these eyes out the window, looking at the view. And it was just presence. And this happens to everybody, whether you have spiritual training or you don't, whether you're interested in any of these things or not. This happens to anybody, probably in daily basis. But we have no awareness of it. We don't have a training of it, of recognizing it, that it's the entire consciousness, it's entire the being operating through you, through this unit. And so what happens is it happens as a natural state. It happens on a regular basis. But to the average person without any kind of training, they have no awareness of it. And then what happens is, after this vastness is kind of tainted by thoughts, a thought come that, oh, I need to go shower and go to work, or I need to go pick up my kids, I need to make some food, I need to whatever, I feel lonely, I feel depressed, what's happening in the world? Oh my God. But in that period of time, the Buddhists call it the nothingness, emptiness. But when we talk about emptiness or nothingness, it sounds so dull and boring and dark. But it's not like there's nothing. It's just the entire vastness is operating into your body, in your mechanism, in this being. The entire existence. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Wake up. Okay, can you wake up? Wake up. Right, I want you to wake up. Don't fall asleep. Okay? All right. Okay, pay attention. I'm going to say it again. The entire existence is operating through you. And I know some of you don't believe it. You're going to come and say, oh, me, but I got these issues and I need to work on my childhood issues and my damages and I'm not worthy. And I don't care about that story. Put that story away. Put the story away. Don't go there. It's a story. And just come back here without your story. And then who are you? Or what are you if you don't have your story with you? What's left of you? And I'm going to tell you something, because majority of human beings on this planet are so frightened, extremely frightened of if they lose their story. They're so invested in their story. Yeah, but this happened and wow, and my ex, da 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 da, and my kids, they left me and they don't love me, and my daddy used to do this. Okay, I'm not saying it didn't happen to you. I'm saying, like, can you put this story away for a minute and just come and hang out with me without a story? And without a story, then what are you? Who are you now? Yeah, but I'm a mom and I'm a nurse, or I'm a grandma, or I'm a retired military personnel. I understand, it's great. But what are you right now? If you put that thing away, if you cannot attach yourself to a description of what you are. Oh, Zarathustra, you're a man, you're a spiritual teacher, but that's even a story, because I don't even identify to the spiritual teacher. It's just an aspect of who I am, but I'm not only that. I don't want to be limited to the spiritual teacher. That's boring, because I'm so many other things too. So, but if I put these things away and I'm here with you without any kind of labels, there's no labels. It's like, you got this bottle of water, or this has this little plastic thingy. They attach this, and it says whatever it says, this. But if I rip this off, if I rip this part off, okay, I'm going to rip it off. So what's left of it? It's a bottle of water. There's water in there, and it doesn't have any name to it. There's just like some liquid, white liquid. You don't even know if it's water or vodka. Maybe I've been drinking vodka. How do you know what I've been drinking? It looks like water. Hi, Annalie. Hola. So, if you put your story away, what are you? What's left of you? Can you do that? Do you have the guts to do it? Do you think you have the guts to put your story away? And I tell you, man, most people on this planet, they're so invested in this story that if you're about to take the story away, they get so frightened. It's like they're completely lost without their story, whatever the story is. but give it a try. Because you may find something very interesting. You may find something really of value. You may find something that they don't teach you anywhere. You may discover this other part of you that it's beyond the story. It's storyless. And that's the part you may realize that, wow, in the I am, not I am this or I am that, in the I am, I've been here for thousands of years. Ever since, I always am. And in this am, I wasn't born and I'm not even going to die, because when I sit down and think of I am, not I am a mom, I am a dad, I'm a businesswoman, or I'm a nurse, or I'm nobody, or I'm somebody. Not in that. In just this place that you're simply here and you don't have a story, you may discover this other part that is vast, which really doesn't have a form. It's not going to die. It can't be damaged. It cannot be hurt. You may discover that. And you may like it, because it brings freedom. It's like, oh my God. Oh, really? Yeah, really. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it consciousness, awareness, I am, nothingness, emptiness, fullness, blah, blah, blah. You put a name to it, but it doesn't even have a name. It's just is. We're so invested in this thing that, yeah, my life and blah blah blah, and the world, and I mean everything you worry about the world. Do you worry about the world, or you worry about yourself? Who are you worried about, really? What's going to happen to the world, or what's going to happen in your world? I want you to pay attention to it. Honestly, let's not just bullshit ourselves. What are you worried about? The world or your world? Where is the main concern? I bet you 100% it's your world is the number one thing that you're worried about. You're concerned about your world. And this your world thing, how long has it been going on? Like, how long you been concerned about your world? 30 years? 40 years? 50 years? How long you been concerned about your world? And so what was happening before you were born, and what's going to happen after you die? Life is going to continue. So if you shift your consciousness, you shift your awareness, your attention that is so invested into my world and me, if you shift your attention out of it, all of a sudden you may find yourself that even for a minute, maybe a second, because it happens during the day to you, and you may just like, wow, this is really like, this is groovy, man, because I'm not thinking, and all of a sudden I'm blissed out because I'm not thinking about the story of me and what's going to happen to me or what's going to happen to my world. All of a sudden you get a glimpse of freedom. You get a glimpse of an expanded part of yourself that you had glimpses of it. Maybe you did ayahuasca, or you took some mushrooms, or you had great sex, or you drank a lot of something, or you went on a nice exercise run or whatever, that you've experienced it. Moments of like expansion. But now when we have the right training, when you're trained to recognize the place, then you notice like a lot of time in your life, you are in this expanded place. You're living in it. But the more you recognize it, the more takes over your life. Identifying with these thoughts of me, my life. Oh, me. I need to hang on to all these things because I need to worry about my retirement. I need to worry about my future. It's fucking illusory. It's an illusion. The reality of it is, in the absence of your story, you're this expansion, complete presence, the big kahuna, God itself, consciousness is here, always here. And it's happening through you right now. It's here. That's good news. You just have to recognize it. And the few people in this life who recognize it and they come and tell you about it, normally we kill them. Normally we crucify them. Because they're threatening the illusion. They're threatening the story. Hey, don't mess around with my story. I really like my story. So what happens when you fall back into your natural state? Everything becomes very quiet and the story disappears. Your story. Excuse me. Anybody else anything to share with me? Any comments? Anything? Shadi?
Yeah, I have something.
Yeah.
I thought the meditation today was unbelievable special. So thank you for that one, because then we felt how it was to be the observer and to be just pure love and awareness. So that was a really good one.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
And your explanation, I think it was very, very good.
Can you speak a little bit louder? Can you talk a bit louder?
Yeah, of course. I feel that your explanations too afterwards was very good today. They're always good, but today it was special.
Thank you.
It really hit me.
Thank you.
In my heart, so thank you.
Thank you. So the story goes away, it goes in the back, and all of a sudden you're free. The story comes back, then suffering comes with it. We start to suffer. Fear. Maybe you don't like the word suffering because somebody was offended last week that I said suffering. Of course, the ego gets offended. But the whole thing of ups and downs and the dance of up and down and up and down and up and down, that's but that story is just, what is it? It's just a series of thoughts happening. But when you are able to, you learn and you are trained correctly. There's this training that you recognize how to come out of it, how to disconnect from it. Then all of a sudden, in the same time, you experience this expansion of the being that you are. And it's always here. It's free. What is it free from? It's free from the story. So the more you recognize, the more you come back to your natural state, you recognize your natural state is a phenomena that happens on its own accord. It's happening all the time because it's always here. What happens is there are moments that the story comes and clutters it. And for most people on the planet, the story is very strong. The narrative is running all the time. There's this narrative. And it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor or tall or strong or pretty or old or young or it doesn't matter on your physical or your financial status. What happens is the enemy is within. It's not in Russia or it's not in China or it's not in corporations. The enemy is inside you. So you're trying to eliminate stuff in the other world, and it's useless because you're never going to succeed, because you have to recognize what's eating you is inside you, not outside. So once you recognize that and you start paying attention to this other part of yourself, which is always here and is perfect, the more you recognize it, the more these webs of this spider webs of slavery starts to get cut. You're starting to become free.
Yes, and it's like this thing within. It's like get attached and pick different things up, or get like sucked into it. So all of a sudden it starts to becoming like yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You get cut into your story.
And the other story, when you hang out with some people and then this thing starts, like, and then you get like,
you get zapped into the story. You go into whatever it is. Yeah.
So it's this that you get like attached and identified with it, right?
You get identified with it, and that's where suffering starts to happen. You start to suffer. Because nobody's really here torturing you. Nobody's, is pulling your nails out or pulling your teeth out and beating you up. It's an internal dialogue is happening with yourself. And that internal dialogue creates this suffering, creates this ups and downs. So it's a recognition of it. You recognize that. But
and also it is. Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, go ahead.
And also it is like the ones you're interacting with, it is like they are kind of shape shifting into what you are sending out. So it's like this constant like sending out, receiving, and interaction, and it's like it's really weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one chaotic mind. So all these reflection, all these people start showing up in your life, your family, your friends, and everyone is reflecting back the story. It's like you're looking at these different images. Everyone you look at, people around you, they're different reflections. It's like you're standing here and there's like 20 mirrors around you. It's all mirrors, separated, single separated mirror. So you're looking at a reflection and another reflection, another reflection. It's all reflecting. And they're all reflecting back of what is going on inside you, they're reflecting back the story.
Yeah.
So
And
that's, huh?
And at the same time, simultaneously, it is like sometimes like it's like I go out of myself, and then it's like I'm aware of it at the same time, like I'm a mirror for them and a reflection of them. So it's this dance all the time, and it's like,
Yeah. Until self-awareness, self-awakening comes, the mechanism of a recognition, whether it's the teacher, it's something triggers, appears in your life, and it's like, stop. Okay? Stop the madness and stop projecting outside. Bring your attention inwards. So they force you to look inside. And it's like the first time ever in your life, you start to examine the source of the madness. Where is this madness coming from? So you're examining its source. Means you're examining the source of your thoughts, because the madness is coming from your mind. But you're thinking that the problem is outside, so you're trying to fix the outside world. You don't realize that it's coming from yourself. You're the source of it. Whatever madness you see in the world is coming from you. You don't realize that. So you start to look inside, and then it leads you into the silence. You come to peace. Because you start digging in, you're going deeper in the rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden, you get glimpses of the truth of who you are. You realize that, wait a minute, who I am is not who I thought I am. Because who I am is far more extended and expanded than who I think I am. Who I think I am has got a lot of issues. It's angry, it's stingy, it's jealous, it's manipulative, it's needy. It's got all this stuff. It's not pretty. But when you pass that and you go deep, all of a sudden you come to the Buddha. You realize the presence. You realize this other part of you. It's the master sitting there. It's always been there. It's just been waiting for you to discover it. It's always talking to you, but we're not trained to understand the voice and the language of the master within ourselves. We don't understand the language. So existence creates an external master, external guru, to comes and speaks to us, because we're not hearing what it's the one is saying from within. We don't understand it. Not in the beginning. So we need an external one to reflect back to us, to push you back inside. And then the more you start looking within, the more you realize that, wow, it's always been peaceful. It's always quiet. It's always like state of bliss. And it's not conditional. The beauty of it is it's not conditional. It's not something that comes and goes. When you discover it, It's not subject to an object. Objects, they come and go. This one it's not coming and going. It's always here. All right. Any questions? Anything? Shadi, you have any questions? Anything you want to share? Shadi S.
No, that was really nice. Thank you.
Good. Right.
Yeah. It's just sometimes the reflective, how you're saying, like, whatever goes, the chaos inside reflects on the outside. I just can't see it sometimes.
It's going to take time. It will click. You just have to be patient. Everything it will make sense. Everything will click in. It takes time because it's so new in so many ways. When I say new, I'm not talking about thousands of years, millions of years of the mind. And then all of a sudden we're learning to go beyond the mind. And it's a handful of us, a very small percentage of human beings on this planet are going in that direction. The rest are very much into the matrix. They're very much involved with the world. Very much believe the world. The world is very real to them. It's very real. They're so concerned about it. And very few people are going into the inner journey and they're starting to see, like, oh, wow, that thing is not real. And it's a tremendous transformation. It's very frightening and very, very shaking, very strong, because something that all of your life you thought it's real, you start to realize it's not. Yet your body is in it. The image of your body exists in it. But you start realizing it that, wow, this thing is really not real. Because if it was real, it would sustain itself. But it's changing constantly from one thing to another. No part of it is remaining the same. Every aspect of this life you look at is constantly changing from one thing to another, whether it's better or worse. It can't sustain itself because it's not real. The only real thing is that which doesn't change, that which is always here. Something is aware of change. What is that thing? To whom this change is happening? Oh, the world is changing. The global warming, the COVID story, we're losing our rights, the war. To whom? Who's aware of this change? Ask yourself that question. Who is aware of the changes? Or my body is changing. I'm not energetic the way I used to be, or I have a lot more energy in comparison to before. To whom does that appear? Who's aware of that? Who's noticing the change? It has to be changeless. Something that's not changing is aware of the change. Bring your attention to that one, and you recognize who you are. And freedom comes. Bliss comes. Joy comes. Because you become free from the misery. Otherwise, it's frightening. It's miserable. The stories you hear. They locked up Shanghai and 26 million people are in lockdown, and the war and the COVID and the economy and da 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 da. It's all very frightening, very disturbing stories. If you get into it, the threat of nuclear war and blah blah blah, it's all bullshit anyway. None of it is real, but it's a story. It's a narrative. But this narrative is nothing new. It's the same story that keeps repeating itself. You need to wake up to this thing. You need to wake up. It's like, wait a minute. I'm hearing the same story on the news as I remember since I was a kid. It's the same story you're hearing. You can't fall into that. You have to wake up to it. Otherwise, you'll suffer. Because it's very frightening. But when you start shifting and you bring your attention and you start to get out of it and start finding what's really here, then stability comes, equilibrium comes. You find you're balanced. You find you don't change your mood so much. You're happy. You're not afraid. And you're not operating from fear. Because most people right now on this planet are operating from fear. Their decisions are fear-based. Big time. So afraid. So you gotta just shift. And then you discover your inner freedom. And the more you discover it, and the more you're happening here, you're hanging out here in this space, the more you start to realize that, wait a minute, that other thing is bullshit. It's not real. All right, so we're coming to the end of our academy. Very nice to see you all. I'm having the enlightenment retreat in Åre, Sweden, this coming next month, actually, from June 6th to 13th, and we still have some space available. So if you're interested, contact us. Contact my office or Hilde or Annalie, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And our friend Baram Ji, amazing Sufi musician, is joining us too, to create the space, to create the raising the vibrations to a higher frequency. Because this is a time that we need to rise our vibrations. This is a time that we need to rise above the fear, the worry, the anxiety, and really discover who we are. Really come to our power, the recognition of that, and to open our wings, to free ourselves from this web of worry, anxiety, fear, uncertainty. That's why we come together, so we remember that. So our retreat is alive and happening, and I look forward to seeing you all. That's what I'm having right now in this time. So I invite you to join me. Other than that, my social media pages, it's called Zarathustra 5D. The website is zarathustra.tv, and our email is info@zarathustra.tv. Feel free to write to us or ask questions or make suggestions. Send you lots of love and look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Namaste. Hi. All right. All right.